A political earthquake has shaken Britain, striking at the very core of Sir Keir Starmer's leadership. In a unanimous and scathing judgment, the UK Supreme Court has exposed a covert government plan to realign Britain with the European Union, without parliamentary approval. What Starmer hoped would remain hidden has now been dragged into the open, igniting a scandal that threatens to destroy both his authority and his party's unity. The ruling, delivered by all 11 justices, declared Labour's manoeuvre unlawful, branding it a violation of constitutional principles. At the heart of the decision lay a devastatingly simple truth. No government may smuggle in fundamental shifts to Britain's post-Brexit settlement without debate in Parliament. For the court, Starmer's scheme was not an administrative adjustment, but a political deception, an unlawful attempt to steer Britain back into Brussels' orbit under the guise of regulatory convergence. Leaked drafts confirmed the scale of the plan, harmonising product standards with EU rules, rejoining certain agencies, and tying Britain more closely to EU climate frameworks. To Starmer's circle, this was technical alignment. To the court, and now the public, it was betrayal. For millions who voted Leave, it vindicated their deepest suspicion that the political elite never intended to respect the Brexit referendum. The fallout was immediate. Nigel Farage, seizing the moment, hailed the judgment as a victory for democracy, warning supporters that the elites had been caught red-handed. The Conservative Party moved with ruthless speed, plastering billboards across battleground constituencies. He tried to take Britain back into the EU. The Supreme Court stopped him. You can too. Within hours, Labour's reputation for discipline had shattered. Inside Starmer's party, fury erupted. MPs in Brexit constituencies, many already nervous about holding their seats, felt blindsided. Leaked WhatsApp exchanges revealed seething anger, with one Northern MP declaring, "He lied to us. He lied to the country." The atmosphere within Labour was described as one of panic, betrayal, and open mutiny. Even the shadow cabinet began to fracture, with figures like Angela Rayner demanding answers and whispers of a leadership challenge spreading.
Is the only way
Starmer's silence
maintain the
only
base in the
compounded
long term.
the crisis.
There
His
is
reputation
no
for calm, once read as
We will
strength,
never gamble with
now it
national
appeared as evasion. Commentators noted the irony. A leader who built his brand on transparency and respect for the referendum had been exposed as governing in secret. Each day without a full explanation deepened the perception of arrogance and deceit. The Supreme Court's verdict reverberated across Westminster like a thunderclap. In Parliament, Conservative MPs jeered, branding Starmer the Remain Prime Minister Britain never voted for. Leaked documents revealed that he had personally signed off on the alignment drafts,
Today's agreement
confirming suspicions
is the
that he
only
was not
way
merely
to maintain the base
complicit
in the
but
long
central
term.
to the strategy.
There is
For
no
Tory
alternative.
strategists, this was
We will
political
never
gold.
gamble with national
Cabinet ministers flooded television studios, accusing Labour of betrayal, while Rishi Sunak positioned himself as a defender of sovereignty. But the most lethal danger for Starmer came not from the opposition benches, but from within. Labour's internal cohesion, so carefully stage-managed, collapsed overnight. Backbench MPs raged that their re-election prospects had been destroyed. Constituency parties across the North and Midlands passed motions condemning Starmer's leadership, some demanding his resignation. Volunteers withdrew from campaigning, leaving Labour's ground game crippled. The anger was not abstract, it was visceral, rooted in the sense of being misled by their own leader. The media poured fuel on the fire. Right-leaning papers screamed EU betrayal in bold letters. Even left-leaning outlets, reluctant to shield Starmer, framed the scandal as an existential crisis. Political commentators argued this was not just about one policy, but about character. Starmer had promised integrity, accountability, and respect for democracy. The ruling, they said, demolished all three pillars at once. Meanwhile, Farage and Reform UK capitalised on the fury. His rallies grew louder, electrified by chants of betrayal. Reform's digital presence surged, and polling numbers ticked upward, particularly in Labour's Red Wall constituencies. For the first time in years, reform was no longer dismissed as fringe, but as a genuine threat capable of fracturing Labour's base and reshaping the political battlefield. Inside Labour, the rebellion metastasized. Private meetings descended into shouting matches. Whips struggled to enforce discipline as MPs traded accusations of dishonesty and arrogance. The shadow cabinet splintered, with figures like Lisa Nandy and Wes Streeting quietly positioning themselves for a leadership contest. Starmer's authority, once unquestioned, now looked perilously weak. Grassroots Labour members joined the revolt. Constituency parties passed votes of no confidence. Activists abandoned campaigns, and once loyal supporters spoke openly of betrayal. Without its activist base, Labour's electoral machine was paralysed. Strategists privately admitted they had no plan to recover. The betrayal narrative has now taken root, dominating headlines, talk shows, and editorials. Once it takes hold in the public imagination, such a narrative is almost impossible to dislodge. Starmer is no longer viewed as a careful strategist, but as a secretive operator, undone by his own arrogance. What was once Labour's strongest selling point, his image as a steady hand, has become his greatest liability. As the scandal deepens, one question consumes Westminster: can Keir Starmer survive? Many believe the answer is no. The betrayal is now his legacy, the scandal his defining moment. Labour's greatest opportunity in a generation risks collapsing under the weight of one man's miscalculation. The Supreme Court did not just strike down a policy, it shattered the credibility of a leader. And as each day passes, the sense grows that Britain is witnessing the downfall of yet another political figure, undone not by enemies abroad, but by his own hidden hand at home.